Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me for this very special edition to Conversations with Taz. As promised, the things that we didn't get a chance to get into on Friday, and there are a couple of other things that happened that I feel like need to be addressed tonight, so we are going to address them tonight. Um, whew, there is so much. Let's start with the school board meeting. See you in just a sec.
The reason why I authored this is just to make sure that both sides are always being taught to the students.
Oh my God.
But it specifically says anti-racism is not allowed. So
Okay,
racism.
so to go back to the anti-racism, when we're talking about anti-racism, I know when you look up the definition of it, it says, when you oppose racism. Well, folks, we really want to have an open discussion, but there is no way to have an open discussion with all the chitter chatter and the laughing. And we're trying to talk. I heard what everybody said earlier about the lack of communication. I totally agree with everybody. We can do a much better job communicating. But it isn't funny. We're brand new. It's like drinking from a fire hose. We are trying our best.
How is saying you need to see both sides and both sides need to be represented, but you're voting down teaching anti-racism and actual US history in schools, drinking from a water fountain? Just means that you ran out of excuses for your racism. I mean, y'all are saying all of the rest of the quiet parts out loud. Say that part out loud. But if you think that was the smarticle particle of the week, I wish I could tell you that was the pinnacle of stupidity within the United States currently. No, they have to up the ante. So, let me give this warning before showing you this proposed idea. If you have a feeling that someone you know is in the vicinity of an active shooter situation, do not call them, do not text them, do not message them on social media, because each time you set off an alert, you're making noise on their phone. You're potentially setting off lights on their phone. Like if they are hard of hearing, as I am, a light flashes on my phone. If you call or text, that light flashes off. That gives off my location. And if I have my phone on vibrate, or if I'm not thinking and my phone was not on silent, guess what happens? It also prohibits these people from contacting 911. But let's look at what's been proposed. Y'all ain't gonna believe this.
So, y'all, our government has to be the most stupid people on the planet. Could you imagine being in a situation with an active shooter and an Amber Alert style alert went off on your phone? I mean, how long did they think about this? They are doing everything they can except addressing the problem.
Because yes, putting a bigger target on our backs during an active shooter situation is great. Not red flag laws, not common sense laws, not, coast to coast nationwide standards, instead of people being able to go to a gun show in their own state and bypass the laws of the state, or go across state lines and get a firearm, or have a family member register a firearm in their name, but they keep it at their house. And for those of y'all that think that that doesn't happen, these are things that I've witnessed happen. And before you go, well, Constance, you're a black woman. It wasn't black people doing it. Are you not embarrassed? They are most definitely out of their damn minds. Also, I wish I could have gotten to this Friday, but I'm glad I can get to it today. There is one picture circulating from the Uvalde shooting, and even though there are a ton of missteps, a ton of things that need to be reformed, there is one picture that y'all need to stop giving hate to one particular person, and this video explains it.
This picture is not what you think it is. So on Tuesday, I did a breakdown of the video of the Robb Elementary security cam footage showing how Uvalde PD completely just waited in that hallway for 77 minutes without any attempt to go into that classroom. And I've been getting a lot of comments like this talking about the officer pictured here who was on his phone. But this picture is not what it looks like. On June 21st, the Texas Tribune published an article saying that part of the many investigations into Uvalde PD's behavior and mishandlement of the situation was going over security cam footage of that hallway in Robb Elementary, showing those 19 officers standing there for 77 minutes. That article also mentioned an unnamed officer who was the husband of Eva Morales, one of the teachers killed at Robb Elementary, who said that he had received a call and text message from his wife saying that she had been shot and was bleeding out. He tried to then bring that to authorities, tried to go back into the school, but was restrained, had his gun taken away from him, and was escorted away from the scene. And I covered that here in this video on June 21st. On June 22nd, it was confirmed by Texas Department of Safety that that incident did in fact happen and that the officer in question was Officer Ruben Ruiz, and I talked about it in this video here. Now, granted, everything that has come out from Texas DPS and Uvalde PD has been somewhat of a lie or a half-truth. So in reviewing that footage, I purposely looked for an officer that either was looking at his phone, got a phone call, what have you. So when I saw this in the footage, I thought that this was Officer Ruiz, but did not want to put that in my explainer video until it had been confirmed that that was in fact him. And as of this morning, we now have that confirmation, as stated in the Texas Tribune by Texas State Representative Joe Moody, that that was in fact Officer Ruiz, waiting to hear back from his wife, Eva Morales. And if you're one of those people that for some reason needs proof that Officer Ruiz and Eva Morales were in fact husband and wife, this is a family photo of them together and their daughter, Adeline Ruiz. So if you are one of those people who posted this photo in his screensaver saying that he was dumb or couldn't do his job, please take it down. Officer Ruiz is going through enough after having been restrained when trying to save his wife and her students. So please, let that man and his family mourn in peace.
And this is why I say it's important to not just listen to what you're being told when receipts are being posted beside someone or in front of them in a picture-in-picture moment, or if they say something and then it comes across the screen. Actually take the time to read it, to look at it, to understand the whole story, because too many times innocent information is behind you that does not add up to what the person is saying. And if we are going to criticize QAnon conspiracy theories and MAGA heads and Trumplicans and the conservative GOP, we have to be mindful as to what we allow ourselves to fall for. Because whether it's from news media, on social media, or in real life, I have witnessed it myself, where someone's receipts, when you look at it, doesn't match up to what they're saying. But you get so drawn in to what they're telling you, you're like, ooh, because it's entertaining. It's tantalizing. It's woo. You feel like you got some inside information. And then it's detrimental to a person. The families in Uvalde are going through enough. Stop letting yourselves listen to things to be a part of a clique that feels like they have inside information as to what happened there. Let's go by the facts, just like we do on this show. Let's go by the facts as they come out. There's enough disparaging information that we do not have to disparage the innocent. And like I've told people for quite a while, also don't let your paranoia make you feel like something isn't the way that it is. Do not insert yourself into this situation. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I went through this and this is it. Can there be similarities within situations? Yes, but you need to go in with a clear mind to see those similarities. And also, whoops, we do have some articles that we did not get a chance to go through on Friday. And coming from Texans Daily, Houston breaking. Texans reach settlement with 30 accusers in Deshaun Watson case. Why the Texans though? Let's just read. All 30 of the women with complaints against the Houston Texans organization for its alleged role in connection with the reported sexual misconduct of quarterback Deshaun Watson have resolved their claims, Houston attorney Tony Busby announced on Friday. But let's keep going. Said Busby, I will have no further comment on allegations or the Texans' role. Texans' role? What were y'all doing? Because that doesn't sound very... Never mind. Other than to say, there is a marked contrast in the way in which the Texans address these allegations and the way in which Watson's team has done so. Oh, this sounds very much so like we knew this black man broke the law, but don't blame us for trying to cover it up to keep him to stay with us. And since he didn't stay with us, now we're going to blame the black man for everything. But we knew what was going on. And since we knew what was going on, this is why we had to pay our days. How does this help anybody? Well, let's keep going. Watson, traded from the Texans to Cleveland Browns this offseason, remains under NFL scrutiny. Is it really scrutiny? For his alleged behavior. At this point, it is no longer alleged, bruh. Like, you got 11,000 people saying the exact same thing and none of them know each other, but okay. With assorted stories suggesting he could be suspended for the entire season. Nobody has suggested that. Nobody has got that feeling that he is going to be suspended for the whole season, especially after that Cleveland trade to... Never mind. The Texans will now avoid further civil litigation due to the settlements with amounts paid to each complainant intended to be confidential. So you made everybody sign an NDA because you fumbled the ball, pun intended, from the beginning. You thought that you could keep him there and you could use his talents for good, even though you knew he was problematic. Tale as old as time. I'm just shocked y'all gave him the same treatment that y'all gave Ben Roethlisberger, NFL. I'm not talking about a specific team. I'm talking about the NFL altogether. It's just that black women don't play them games. Black women aren't going to sit on the sidelines while you shuffle them about and, we'll think about paying you. We'll give you pennies on the dollar. No, we're going to make it known what you did to us. Whether you believe us or not, we will still fight tooth and nail for justice. However that justice comes. Especially when somebody decides to tell our story for us. And coming from insider.com, Johnny Depp's fights back against Amber Heard's mistrial request, arguing she knew about the wrong juror all along but didn't complain until she lost. And word on the street is that Amber keeps trying to call upon secret meetings between her and Johnny when she proclaimed in front of the whole world that she just wanted her life back and wanted to be away from Johnny, and Johnny was messing with her and wouldn't let her go, begging him to agree to, But here are just the cliff notes. Amber Heard wants her legal loss to Johnny Depp to be thrown out because a person ended up on the jury who wasn't called for jury duty. There was a mistake in the birth date. But that person still went through, heard all the evidence, did everything. She knew from the beginning that the birth date was off. And we know, no matter where you go in the globe, there's probably going to be somebody with your name. I once lived in a state where there were 5 women who had the same name as me with the same middle initial. It's just the middle name was different, but all of us just middle initial dot. That's what caused me to stop just using middle initial dot and started switching up. Well, I legally switched up what my legal name is, what I can sign on legal documents. Try to figure out what that is. In a court filing on Monday, Depp's legal team argued that Heard missed the deadline to call for mistrial, which she did. Each time she tried to call for a mistrial, even when the trial was still being publicized. Depp's lawyers also said Heard knew about the juror issue all along but didn't complain until after losing the case. Classic narcissistic behavior. You believe that you are so compelling that everybody is just going to believe you, even though it's so nonsensical. Like, I have heard rumors about people that make absolutely no sense. And the person or persons perpetuating that rumor have gotten upset with me because I didn't believe this shit that didn't fucking make sense. Like, at some point, y'all got to use your noggins and stop just going along with people. Yeah, it's been fun. Now, here's a video I want you all to pay close attention to. And on this video, it's going to start at about the 18:15 mark. So please try to screen record it and share it with people. Here's some information you really need to know.
Matoaka, or Pocahontas, was not the first, nor one of the first MMIW. And literally every time I see one of my northern cousins say this, it really irks my soul because you guys commit lateral violence and erase us all of the time. And then when we correct you, you want to be like, no, one of the first. No, not even close to being one of the first. Columbus came in 1492. Northern natives had to deal with the pilgrims that came in early 1600s. We had over 100 years, Tainos and our people have over 100 years dealing with colonial violence and having our women being MMIWs. And if y'all took the time to actually study our history, there were millions of our people that were murdered, millions of our women that were murdered, which means that Matoaka wouldn't even be one of the first on that list. She's one of the first to y'all as far as being northern natives, even though, and I shall remind y'all, the Caribbean is apparently part of the Northern Americas. Therefore, our people should be counted in those numbers. But no. When it comes to northern natives, a regular theme is that we are constantly erased, and then come Columbus Day, everybody wants to get mad at Columbus but forget about us, forget about the people that he actually did it to. But no, y'all want to appropriate and take Columbus's pain and all the things he did to us and be like, oh my God, it was so bad that he did it to us, even though y'all were literally terrorized by the pilgrims. It was the British. Literally, Columbus didn't even come up here. But for some reason, it's okay for y'all to take our pain, but completely erase us, erase the things that we went through, erase our women and our experiences, and commit lateral violence on this app all the time, talking about, oh, but Pocahontas Matoaka is one of the first documented MMIW. It's the first. No, we literally have documents in the islands, publicly available online for you to research, of our women being missing and murdered. But no, I have to sit here on this app and create this video for you because you want to sit here and go back and forth with me talking about, no, I said one of the first. Not even close to being one of the first. It in a really long list, okay? And I'm not trying to play the woe is me situation. I'm just really, really tired of this narrative on native TikTok, this constant narrative of, oh, no, if you're Northern Native, if you're on a reservation, or if you're up here, your problems and your past, your colonial trauma, it's just way more important. Granted, my people was the first to deal with all of it. Colonization literally started with us, yet we are constantly the ones erased, the ones talked down to, and the ones that have to deal with this type of bullshit from our own goddamn cousins. Like, respectfully, no.
She's absolutely right. And let me just add on to this because there's nothing to take away. What people forget in the history of chattel slavery started with Native Americans on this continent. They gave up on Native Americans because they felt that they couldn't endure the sun and the hard labor as much as the rest of us. But Native Americans have an appreciation for the land that supersedes anything that you could do to them. Now, I'm not downplaying my own Black diaspora. Do not take it that way. Please do not. But when you have a people that is so connected, this is their land. They have built a connection to this. And there is a Native woman that was nicknamed Indigo. Indigo is the reason why you have tobacco plants that are able to flourish in North America. She figured out how to do it because of her connection to the land and knowing what type of soil to go. And she was so savvy that she was able to live in freedom and have generations be born in her lifetime. But you have to give respect, and you also have to pay attention to and stop the erasure of the Afro native, because they're constantly being pushed out. And I know the uproar that happened on TikTok this past weekend. And I will just say, many of y'all need to go back and watch that video again. And once again, stop placing yourself into something and listen to what was being said. But no lies detected. Now, to break up the rest of the, really, we got to get into it. And I feel like Sir Puppers has gotten into something in my kitchen that he shouldn't be in, and he knows he's not supposed to be in my kitchen. Oh, there you are, little crackhead. We seem to be having some elephants gone wild moments. Check this out. Have a good chuckle.
So I found another Facebook video, y'all. Look.
When they say elephants have the best memories, women of color must be part elephant. Quit messing with these. Elephants and women of color are fed up. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. And once again, before we deep dive into some more serious stuff, here's a text message. Woo, gone wrong. But Kiki with me, baby.
I'm fighting with Mike. Again? Oh my god, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's bad, and I think it's it this time. He just drove off with his mom's corpse. With her corpse? Her Camaro. Dad, do you have any idea where my diploma is? It's in your mother's anus. Anus. In her anus. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, upstairs in her house. Great news. Grandma is homosexual. Okay. Homo hot lambs. Hot tulips. I'm getting...
This is why voice to text is not always your best option. Whoa! And just to add on to it, last night while on air, I was messaging another co-host of mine who was like, "Are you on hiatus?" And I'm like, "No, what I was trying to text was, I'm on live now. It went through, I'm on love now. And he was like, what? I was like, oh crap. And then it went, typo on love. Oh, it just kept getting worse. Yeah. But what would a Conversations with Taz be without a Marjorie Taylor Greene update? It would be boring. She is our muse. Here we go. Oh, and don't forget, even though they claim they're not besties anymore, right after this, we're going to have an article updating you on Lauren Boebert. Yeah, again, she's going fucking ape shit too.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is getting very angry before the January 6th hearings. She just went on Twitter to call a pro-choice Washington, D.C. march a, quote, Democrat insurrection. But that is not an insurrection. An insurrection is what happened on January 6th. And it's what happened when Marjorie Taylor Greene gave recon tours of the Capitol to Trump supporters a week prior to the insurrection. That is what we are going to find out in these upcoming hearings. So guys, I'm going to keep you updated. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I can tell you're very scared.
She more scrambled than some eggs at Cracker Barrel. But let's get to Lauren Boebert herself. From Newsweek, Lauren Boebert reported to FBI after terminate this presidency tweet. But I thought it was Antifa and BLM. Lauren Boebert has been reported to the FBI on Twitter by several users over her terminate this presidency tweet. The House Republican from Colorado on Sunday appeared to mock President Joe Biden after he mistakenly said presidency instead of pregnancy while discussing abortion rights being restricted in the U.S. following the revoking of Roe v. Wade. Coming from a woman who was groomed by her husband that exposed himself in front of her friends, and her father, and a bartender at a bowling alley, and it took 3 times for her to pass the GED, and I have no problem with anybody who got a GED, but bruh, they give you a whole book. They give you tutors. They give you more than they give us in high school to make sure you pass that test. Just last week, it was reported that a 10-year-old girl was a rape victim in Ohio, 10 years old, and she was forced to have to travel out of state to Indiana to seek to terminate the presidency and maybe save her life, Biden said on July 8th. Just like myself, Biden suffers from stuttering, where sometimes when you're trying to catch yourself, you will say a word that is adjacent to the word or pretty similar or has multiple of the same letters as the word that you mean. And then you go back and you correct yourself. But a lot of times people do not pay attention to that, or they take your stuttering as something else because they have nothing fucking better to do in their lives than, shit on people. Oh yeah, RJ. Autocorrect is so entertaining. In a July 10th tweet, Boebert, a staunchly anti-abortion lawmaker who should have been aborted, swallowed, taken up the poop chute, put into a tissue, y'all get where I'm going, tweeted, "We need to terminate this presidency," end quote. Repeat the line. Boebert added in reference to another gaffe Biden made during his speech in which he appeared to read out teleprompter comments. But where was she when Trump was talking about Covfefe? I mean, I could list other faux pas that Trump made, but I mean, I drink coffee in the morning. Who drinks Covfefe? Because Covfefe makes me think like there's cocaine added to it. Now I do mix, dark chocolate mocha and white mocha creamer into my coffee, unless I'm doing the Death by Chocolate coffee. Then I do a little oat milk and a little unbleached sugar with a touch of honey. Don't knock it till you try it. It's delicious. I'm just saying. This feel like this bitch got us. Never mind. I'm gonna save the last article for the night for the last time of the night. Now, let's get into this next video. See you on the flip side.
You gotta choose up. Find you some value. You know, sometimes before we get friends, we have to do an interview. How long have you been broke? How many times have you changed your name on your light bill? How many of your bills in your little cousin's name? Do you live in a trailer home or a house? You know, you understand. And it's not about status or material things. It's just about choices. You know, life is different now. And, you know, we are at church. Thank God we're here. Those of us who walk in by faith without a mask and no vaccine. And so we honor the Lord. God is good. I respect all of the men of God here and respect you. Can y'all clap so I don't feel strange right about now? Hopefully we'll get a chance to meet each other when y'all invite me to come to your church. I'm not as expensive as I seem. And so, I don't know, maybe you got a little left over from your PPP loan. Prayer, praise, and power. You understand? Amen. Isn't the Lord great? Amen. Amen. And so, you know, I like coming here because the ground is already tilled with great personality like Dr. Karn. Because one thing I love about him, he's deep in the word, but he knows how to have great humanity. And most don't understand his personality because he is truth personified. And he tells the type of truth that makes most uncomfortable. Because who likes to be told you're just ugly? No one likes to be told that. You know, especially when they have realized it. All right. Most don't get offended until they know the bad thing about themselves. And then somebody else recognizes and says, oh, I saw the ugly too. I just wanted to let you know. So anyway, y'all get that later. God is great. All of you are beautiful. I haven't chosen anyone to be ugly yet.
And certain folks wonder why people run from the Christian church. Who hurt you, Kim? Who hurt you? You sitting there talking about you haven't chosen someone to be ugly yet. Did you miss that leave out? That was thicker than a snicker? Who are you to choose anybody? And where in the good book does it say that we are to forsake those that are doing worse by society, man standards than us? Because I do believe in the Christian religion, we aren't supposed to judge ourselves by societal standards. So no one should be doing less than the other. We're supposed to be our brother's keeper. And more importantly, we're supposed to be standing in the need of prayer while keeping our lights trimmed and burning, awaiting and fervently prepared for the return of the bridegroom. Do you have a different Bible than I was given? You were brought there to sing. Who hurt you to the point where you felt the need to try to denigrate other people? Talking about you're not as expensive as other people think. Why are you being paid astronomical amounts to bring the good word? If the good word has been so good to you, it seems the good grift has been good to you. Because a lot of people will say that they are being called to different positions, but they haven't been called. They just look at the prosperity of other people and lead people astray. And where do you think that's going to lead you, Buttercup? Where, baby girl? As you standing there looking like a whole lot of what the fuck and why? See, you the same type of heathen hooligan that will see me walk into the church as the pastor's daughter, the chairman of the deacon board's bestie, and come up with all sorts of rumors about me to make yourself look better, or you think it's going to make you look better. But ain't nobody touched you since the doctor did when you were born. Ain't nobody looked your way since they were trying to cross the street. But you want to pretend that you are holier than thou when you've been holying it, hoeing it up here and thou. Because those that protest too much. Let me get to these comments. Oh, Kim Burrell. But my thing is, Miss Kimbo no slice. When your family first started their ministry, wasn't the whole premise that God brought them a mighty long way? That God brought them from poverty to the Milky Way? Weren't y'all going without lights and power and gas and electric and water and food? But now, you question the people who can't sit in first class? Baby, I would sit on a Greyhound before I sit and place judgment on another person. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure that I've learned in my 45 rotations around the sun and the education that my ancestors have laid upon me, and that I have taken the mantle and furthered myself with my own due diligence, is that life brings you peaks and valleys, hills and mountains, ups and downs, curves, more than the Autobahn has to offer. And it doesn't matter if you have millions sitting in your bank account today, if you started out with them, or if you started out with 25 cents, you're going to go through some things. You're going to be humbled by life, regardless of who you feel your savior is, who you feel your moral compass comes from, whether it's eternal or external. Life is a universal humbler, whether the other people around you see it or not. But okay, boo. I don't know what man hurt you. I don't know what woman that hasn't grifted her life away, wooed the man you love away. But baby, that wasn't it. Kim Burrell. And for those of y'all that say that we Black people gatekeep too much, I got two examples for y'all. Let me run this video and then I got some pictures to show y'all. Let's get it. Let's go.
So let's talk about white women stealing art from Black queer artists.
What's up, y'all? So let's get into it. So this artist, Gala Noir, in collaboration with the Guggenheim, she put on the show with this piece, and basically this piece was stolen by Creative Day Day Studios. The thing, Day Day's worked for the designs of Soul of a Nation, the Oscars, BET Plus, Times News, and FX. So not only is his resume exquisite, on top of that, the same image that she chose to copy, it's actually from a film that he created in collaboration with this guy, Bull Mitchell, who's a full-on bull rider and a whole cowboy. The film actually depicts more of his life and especially growing up as a Black cowboy. And the article has the nerve to say Gala Noir investigates and retrieves some of these figures forgotten by literature, when you didn't even credit the artist, literally adding to the problem. Top of that, they got the nerve to throw in Breonna Noble and the Black Lives Matter movement. Now here's my take on this. 1, you copied off of a Black artist. 2, a reputable Black artist. And then 3, on top of that, you just bringing up Black Lives Matter movement, how Breonna Noble inspired you, when you're literally adding to the problem. This isn't an attack, but if you were truly inspired, we talked about the original Lone Ranger, Bass Reeves, the best cowboys in the world, Nat Love, Ecard, pioneer of cattle drives, especially Bill Pickett, creator of bull dodging and bull wrestling. Mostly said, to take down a bull, you bite its lip. With the Bill Pickett rodeo still going on to this day. Don't even get me started on the vaqueros, Native Americans, especially Joanna July. Also could have mentioned the Concrete Cowboys, how gentrification is removing these stables, especially in neighborhoods and communities within Philly. And even the influence of Black cowboys inspiring artists, for instance, like Bob Marley and Buffalo Soldier. And Beyonce singing Daddy Lessons at the Country Music Awards, Dixie Chicks. And they were banned too. Even H-Town Hottie, Megan Thee Stallion, even in high fashion. Like, I knew the Black cowboys seemed familiar. Anyway, to wrap the story up, the rising increase of Black artists and Black presence, especially in the art market, and a high demand for it too. Articles like this came out last week. Even this, and this. I think the art world is kind of in a white scramble right now, especially after 2020 and the Black Lives Matter movement. There's a lot of systematic fragility going on, and especially white fragility. You can see it especially in the art world, where white artists are now questioned with, is my work heroic enough? Since it's cool to be an activist, especially with the rising demand for Black artists in the art world. You can also see the fragility in, is my work creative enough? Is it impactful enough? Is it purposeful enough? But that's just systematic guilt, white guilt to be specific. This up.
I agree with everything she said except for the guilt part. There's no guilt there. That was purposeful. That wasn't inspired by, that was taken from. That was the new level of colonization, gentrification. They water it down, they tone it down, remove all the seasoning from it, the sazon, the sofritos, if you will, and present it. Because if the Guggenheim really wanted an impactful exhibit, why didn't they go to the originator? And there's no way you could look at that and say, I didn't know that was a copy. It was an exact copy. She painted photographs that this individual took. But oh baby, it gets worse. It gets worse. So, Bailey Mountain Cloggers decided to put on a Legends event. Work It, Missy Elliott, multi-platinum rap and hip-hop singer-songwriter, will be played by Katie Puckett. I'm sorry, what? We all know Prince is a legend, and he will be remembered in our spring concert, March 2nd through 4th, in Moore Auditorium. Matt Foster will be portraying this incredible icon on stage. You don't want to miss this. Do you know how many Prince impersonators are out there? I have a good friend who is an incredible Prince impersonator. I also have another family friend who is the president of the Purple Rain, aka Prince Fan Club International. Aretha Franklin, the first female artist to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is a timeless legend. Ashley Hartley will portray this multi-Grammy musician in Legends. The same Aretha Franklin that handpicked who would be the lead in her biopic before she passed away. Once again, Bailey Mountain Cloggers. Who run the world? Girls. Beyonce, Jessica Stiegel will portray the 22-time Grammy-winning artist, and Beyonce is going to be #flawless. What part of this bullshit? I want to dance with somebody. Caitlin Drummond is the iconic Whitney Houston in Legends. And they got her a curly Party City wig. Please don't stop the music. Allison Puckett is the iconic pop singer Rihanna in Legends. What the fuck is this shit? What is Rihanna about? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? It's bad enough. They're taking the theme song from the movie Harriet and using it for their SA trauma. And I'm not taking away from SA trauma, especially as a victim myself, multiple times over throughout my life. But what you standing up to do? What people you taking with you? Where you leading them to? Far across what river? What freedom? Yeah, she did mean it. Now, as inclusive as Sesame Street, the TV show, has been since its inception, you might want to do a little bit more vetting when you decide to open amusement parks or have exhibits or, go on tour. Let me just run these last 3 videos and y'all understand when we say that white supremacists will go into any space to perpetuate their white supremacy, their racism. And for those of y'all that think that I'm reaching, nah, baby, this t-shirt too tight for that shit. Let's go.
So a little girl turns 4 years old, and her parents, to celebrate, take her and her sister to Sesame Place in Philadelphia, which is a Sesame Street theme park. And this is a big deal for them. Like, they get to see the characters they know from television in real life, get to see them, interact with them. These are characters that they feel a connection to, a friendship with, and they'll finally get to express that to them. I saw that character shaking hands with and high-fiving everyone else along that route. And then looked down at 2 little black girls and went. And kept walking. Now, a lot of people have been sharing that video. I don't know that a lot of them have also seen this video. Now, if it was just that video, I probably would have written it off. I would have said, like, oh, maybe they didn't see the little girl, or they were at the end of their shift. But when you see that same character do this starts to look a lot more like a pattern. Now, I know this doesn't fit the Sesame Street brand. There's no question about that. But I would ask Sesame Street, like the corporation, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do to fix this? Because you can issue statements and make apologies online, but it's not going to change how that character's actions made these 2 little girls feel.
Our brand, our park, and our employees stand for inclusivity and equality in all forms. That's what Sesame Place is all about. We do not tolerate any behaviors in our parks that are contrary to that commitment. We also have always been committed to making sure every family and every child has the best possible experience at our park. And we are incredibly disappointed when that does not happen. Regarding the incident yesterday, the costumes and our performers must wear sometimes make it difficult to see at lower levels. And sometimes our performers miss requests from guests. Really? Interesting. How about this one? I'm starting to see a pattern. Let's try somebody else. I mean, if the blue one is that blind, is the outfit even safe? The performer playing Rosita, the Rosita character, has confirmed that the no gesture seen several times in the video was not directed at any specific person. Rather, it was a response to multiple requests from someone in the crowd who asked Rosita to hold their child for a photo. Who in that scene asked for a child to be held? It's not even voiced next to the individual they standing next to. The Rosita character performer did not intentionally ignore the girls and is devastated about the misunderstanding. Which family exactly? If that suit causes that much visual obstruction where you can't see children that are standing right next to each other, and you can conveniently hug a lighter one, but the darker one is it's out your peripheral, y'all need to change them suits. But it's giving somebody sitting under that suit needs to be chopped from their job.
Let's normalize corporations not making excuses when they either intentionally or accidentally hire racists. You cannot tell me that wasn't racially motivated. Because, first of all, the excuse was they couldn't see things lower than them because of the costume, meaning they could only see adults of a certain height, which means at my height, they wouldn't have been able to see me. Now, a couple of my brothers, they would have been able to see. But you saw a child in a stroller, and children standing above the stroller you couldn't see, and then so you are willing to, at the park, fuck up the brand that pays your bills. This is what I mean when I say white supremacy also hurts white people, and actually hurts white people more than it hurts the rest of us. Because here's a little nugget of history. Do you know public parks used to look like what we now pay for amusement parks? But white people didn't want to share it with those of us that weren't. So they shut that shit down. There were way more public pools that were way more extravagant, but they didn't want to share it with us. So now when you see a Karen going berserk over the price of this and the price of that, and you can't let me in with it, they're hurting themselves more. Because what if the outrage from the public, because it's already been shown in economics within the United States, the black dollar controls this country. What if we remove our viewership and our dollars from Sesame Street? Now the beloved characters, the beloved places of your children no longer exist. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, Karen and Richard? Kyle and Becky? Haley, Kaylee, and McKaylee? What you gonna do? Like, you already complaining about ticket prices for places that used to be free, that you decided you didn't want to share with us. Now you pissed that more of us can afford to go to those places that Now, for the final story of the evening, coming from the New York Post, and I know how we feel about the New York Post, but we got to take it from where we can get it. And because Ivana Trump died in New York, and you know, we do not do illogical conspiracy theories here, but let's run this. What we know about Ivana Trump's death so far. Ivana Trump was found dead at the bottom of a staircase at her Upper East Side townhouse on Thursday, and a medical examiner determined she fell down the flight of stairs. Her death was ruled accidental. I'm going to stop it right there. Y'all do know Eric Trump was at the house and never called 911. He left. Somebody else called. And the last time Trump was called in for a subpoena in front of a grand jury that was so major, there was a crash from the air. And then that was delayed. Delayed so much that nothing ever came of it. But as always, like I say in my audio podcast, what do I know? And each one teach one, each one reach one. I'm going to head over to TikTok. I'm going to try to get through you all's comments from the weekend because your girl was kind of just trying to rest and relax. And I'm going to try to go through and answer a few questions and get things prepared for tomorrow's podcast and tomorrow's broadcast because the audio podcast comes out, and try to finish out the written blog. So if you like tonight's episode, share with a friend, share with a family member, share it with a coworker, share it with an enemy. Who knows? Share it with somebody who you think may need to hear this perspective. Till next time.